Hello and welcome to MotorWeek 89. We're glad to have you with us. It's been said you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, I'm not sure it's true for dogs, and I know it's not true for cars. Case in point, the Ford Thunderbird. While the T-Bird's lineage can be traced back to the lowly Fairmont Fox chassis, the current car's style and performance shows the value of determined re-education. So good is this T-Bird that it's been one of our Driver's Choice Award picks for 6 years running. But there comes a time when even the best teacher can't improve on an old school. It just wasn't practical to try and teach the T-Bird to fly any higher. So Ford decided it was time to move on to a new pedigree, but to their credit, not to a new breed. Come December, a new Thunderbird will take flight to your local Ford store. And yes, even with an all-new chassis, it's still rear drive after all these years. But doesn't that mean it's old-fashioned? Well, no more so than a BMW or Mercedes. Make no mistake, that is where Ford is aiming the maximum performance level of the T-Bird and its chop-roof sibling, Mercury Cougar. Ford wanted to give the loyal American rear-wheel drive car buyer something different, a sizzling alternative to the wealth of front-wheel drive personal luxury coupes from General Motors and Chrysler. That sizzle, however, comes in various stages. The new Thunderbird begins in standard trim, then adds a host of luxury features for the LX series. Like the Mercury Cougar LS, power is from Ford's venerable 3.8-liter V6. It includes new sequential port fuel injection, as well as the balance shafts added last year. Output is pegged at 140 horsepower and 215 pound-feet of torque. Coupled with the standard 4-speed automatic transmission, it's capable of a leisurely 0 to 60 run of 11.7 seconds. While handling is competent, the standard suspension and tires are tuned for the smooth ride that the majority of the luxury-oriented T-Bird Cougar buyers prefer. But for those that really want to cook, the sizzle all comes together in the T-Bird performance model dubbed Super Coupe. Super is short for supercharger. The first modern American adaptation of the drag racer's blower comes attached to a heavily reworked 3.8 V6. The Eaton blower plus intercooler jumps output to a strong 210 horsepower and a whopping 315 pound-feet of torque. Coupled to the Super Coupe standard Mazda-designed 5-speed manual transmission, we managed 0 to 60 runs of 7.5 seconds in this prototype at Ford's Dearborn Proving Grounds. While the function of the supercharger is much like a turbocharger, its operation is different. Turbochargers run off exhaust gases. Superchargers are turned by engine belts, much like power steering pumps or air conditioners. More reliable than turbos, superchargers provide boost faster and allow maximum engine output at lower engine speeds. The Super Coupe has the throttle response of a big V8 without the weight. The result is a car that is not only fast in a sprint, but has a top speed, according to Ford, of over 140 miles per hour. Pretty amazing for what is a big and, yes, heavy car. At 3,800 pounds, you never feel you're going as fast in the Super Coupe as you are. That heft on 60 series tires, however, translates into glued-down handling that is akin to Europe's best. Around Ford's test track, we tried our best to force the Super Coupe and its counterpart, Mercury Cougar XR7, to break composure. Typical American rear-drive cars display lots of rear oversteer when you abruptly lift off the accelerator in tight, fast turns. Do that in the SC or XR7, and the cars continue to track obediently. It takes extra braking to push the car tighter than first intended. While some hot shoes will miss the fun of routinely hanging the rear end out in switchbacks, most drivers will marvel at what we think are the safest handling American family cars yet. Ford took great pains to design trailing throttle oversteer out of their new independent rear suspension. The massive stamped upper and lower arms use coil springs, gas tube shocks, and a toe link that allows some rear wheel steering. Ford says the toe link is the secret to the car's benevolent handling character. Ford's move away from conventional strut suspensions continues at the front. Upper and lower control arms surround a compact spring and shock assembly. It provides better ride and handling combinations than simpler struts. On the Super Coupe and XR7, the shocks are adjustable. There is automatic mode or driver-selected firm setting. Like last year's Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, we found the automatic setting best for routine driving, but welcomed being able to select the firm setting for more spirited routes. Steering is electronic variable assist on all but the standard Thunderbird. Steering feedback was good, but at high speeds fuel was still a little too light. Also like last year, anti-lock brakes are included as standard on the top models. However, we applaud Ford for making this excellent safety feature an option on all Thunderbirds and Cougars for 1989. A strong character is most evident from the styling of the new Thunderbird and Cougar, inside and out. Over 3 inches shorter than last year, the new design is lower and wider with 9 extra inches of wheelbase. The overall shape is reminiscent of the BMW 6 Series, with the Super Coupe adding more aggressive bumper air inlets and lower bodywork. The fast-sloping hood flows up to a sharply raked windscreen and down a fast backlight that should work well in NASCAR stock car races. While the Mercury Cougar continues with its controversial upright roof pillars, it too benefits from a new smoothness. Large tail lamps on all models leave no doubt what kind of car is in the lead. With styling that is mostly American in flavor and performance that leans towards Europe, it was no surprise to find the interior to be a cross between cultures. The deeply hooded dash houses a clear set of needles and dials on the Super Coupe and XR7, while other models use either less informative idiot lights or a rather confusing digital gauge grouping. Seats are deeply padded, comfortable, and supportive. The SC XR7's articulated sports seats are excellent. Throwbacks, however, include the ventilation controls. While Ford's revolutionary Taurus uses European rotary controls, Thunderbird buyers are said to prefer chrome-plated buttons. Oh well, they are easy to operate, as is the stereo that is mounted high in the dash. Big improvements to hip and shoulder room have been made in the rear seat, one that is now truly comfortable. However, the Thunderbird's fastback does cut into headroom. The squared roof XR7 was slightly better, and we appreciated the optional fold-down cushions. But chrome buttons and retreating rear headroom are about the most we could find to complain about during our initial outing with the totally new Ford Thunderbird and Mercury Cougar. Even the expected prices, from $14,000 for the standard T-Bird to just over $20,000 for the loaded Super Coupe, are reasonable. These are forward-thinking luxury coupes designed with little regard to the compromised Me Too ancestry of their competition. Ford has genetically engineered their affordable personal luxury coupes into a class by themselves.